The reading that I'm going to do for you here is actually, it's an affirmation reading. So the cards that I'm shuffling are from the Affirmators deck. This is the original deck of, I've done several readings with these decks before. There was a family and friends one, a love one, and a work one. And they were like the offspring of this deck. This deck was the original deck, and it's basically, it's affirmations to provide self-help, to get you over the bumps and further along the road in your life. And they're all a bit like kind of like comically written, with funny little pictures and funny little written asides underneath. So it's not too serious, but all the information provided is useful nevertheless, and can help give you a gentle prod in the right direction where you might perhaps be stuck. So I'm literally going to just ask, what affirmation do I need to hear today? And let's see what the cards tell us. If you can hear barking in the background, please forgive me. It's mental outside here at the moment today. I'm not quite sure why. There are loads of dogs barking, and yeah, this isn't normal. So I don't know what's going on out there, but they sound very happy and excited. Okay, so shuffling to see what feels like falling out. That one felt like falling out. Okay. The card today is wonder. Wonder. What does that word mean to you? Wonder. Wonder is like awe and reverence and amazement. We can look at a beautiful sunset where the sun stains the sky like reds and oranges and pinks and purples all at once, and we can watch that sunset and we can be struck with wonder at how huge the world is, at how unfathomable it is, how magical and mystical it is, how some greater power is at work that we cannot even begin to imagine. So that's how I see wonder. Wonder is like, oh wow, it's like you watch something and it feels like a miracle and you are struck with wonder. And it's like, wonder is it's like an action. It's something that happens to you, and then the feeling of wonder takes hold and you are captured within the activity of that word, of that feeling. And also wonder is curiosity. Wonder is, I wonder what so and so would say about that. I wonder what the truth behind this is. I wonder what tomorrow will bring. I wonder what card will come up. I wonder how I can fix that problem in my life. So wonder is also imagining and trying to problem solve and think your way out of a situation. So wonder is a pretty powerful word and concept in both of its meanings. The picture here today, actually, I'm looking at that, and my life and my readings at the moment, my readings are always touched by what is going on in reality, whether that's my reality, my client's reality, or the world. For all of us collectively. I think that's really important, and I think it feeds into the way that we are reading the world and the way that the cards work as well, because our future is closely connected to what is going on out there. As you know, we're not just this independent organism with our own microsystem existing independently of the world. It's like everything that happens out there affects us in here and our lives, and what's going on at the moment especially has affected all of us in different ways, some of us more than others, and I think it's important to take that into consideration. And this card here, I'm looking at all of these people, and they're all dressed in exactly the same way, and they're wearing these glasses, like people at a cinema when you put on the X-ray, the 3D glasses, and it enables you to see things differently. And then so you can watch a film, and it looks one way, and then you put the 3D glasses on, and it looks totally different, and everything jumps out, and it's in 3D, and it looks real, and it looks like in the room, and it's like wow. And there's the wonder of that. But if we look at these people and we relate it to what is going on in the world right now, perhaps, we can see these people and they're all dressed the same. And why don't we swap out instead of wearing the glasses, they're wearing the masks, which is what we're all being asked to do right now, is to wear the masks. And so in a way, we're all wearing the same uniform right now. We're all doing the same thing. We are like these people. And so perhaps the card is on a deeper level, prompting us to peer beneath the surface, to question the narrative a little bit more deeply, to not just accept what we are being shown and what we are being told, not just to believe that and go, oh, okay, that's the reality, therefore I have to act in this way, I have to think and feel this thing. It's like, no. That's not necessarily the full story. In fact, we know it's not the full story because the news and the media will never ever give us the truth. We will always get a biased version of what is going on because they are trying to get viewers and to sell their information. That is how they exist, that's how they survive. So if we don't believe it, and if we're not excited by it, struck by it, terrorized by it, then we're not going to compulsively feel like we need to listen to it and to come back and search out more of it. And so it's like when you watch the news, it's a bit like going to the cinema to watch a movie. You watch a thriller, it's going to be high impact. It's going to, take your energy up and down on a roller coaster. That's how it's been designed. It's been scripted carefully to make it like that. And I think watching the news is very similar. It's been scripted really carefully to get a reaction out of you because it is sensationalist TV. And just because it's the news doesn't mean that it's all true. And so I think perhaps this card is also saying, it's like reminding us to keep believing in the wonder of the world, in the natural miracles that are out there that are happening around us all the time, in those beautiful, precious, natural moments of wonder. It is really important to make those a mantra within your heart, within your life, within your days. But at the same time, also, I think we are being told to remove the glasses, instead of just sitting there and watching the screen in 3D and seeing all of these things leap out at us into our lives. So this pandemic, for example, is not just a faraway, virus thing that's happening somewhere else in the world that we don't need to care about too deeply because it's not going to touch us and affect us personally, which has happened in the past with these different virus outbreaks, with the Ebola and with this, the different like swine flu and bird flu and all of that stuff. It's been scary, but it hasn't necessarily affected us personally, intimately, unless we're living in that specific country or we know someone who is. This pandemic is different because it's affected everybody in the whole world, and whether it's touched you personally because you've had it, or you've known someone who has had it, or lost someone, heaven forbid, who has had it, it's affected you because you've been put into quarantine in your house. You've been told that you have to wear a mask. You've been fed the story, the narrative, so that you are fearful, and every time you go out you're thinking, will I catch this thing? And we're wondering about things like, do we have to clean everything that comes back into our house? Is it safe to go out, buy an apple and eat it without washing it, or do we have to come back, disinfect the thing before we can consume it? So life has changed drastically. And I think we're all looking at the world with 3D glasses on right now, and the problem has become larger than life, and it has been made to be overly terrifying, so that we do as we're told and we don't question things and we don't kick up a fuss and we don't rebel or revolt. And I can understand the logic in that and the sanity behind that, because maybe people wouldn't have gracefully taken to their homes for a period of time without complaining when it would affect them in such a deep way, because, you know, people have not been able to work, so people's lives have been touched on so many different levels by this thing. And it's not just about, hey, you know, can you be selfless enough to stay at home for a while and not go out in order to stop this thing spreading and protect all the other people you know and people you don't know. It's like, no, because by doing that, you know, the whole economy has been shut down, and so people haven't been able to work. People haven't been able to go to their job, so therefore they haven't been paid. You know, the shops haven't been able to be open, the restaurants haven't been able to be open, all of these things, all the hotels are shut. So it's affected people on such a deep level, and it will continue to affect people on such a deep level for a very, very long time to come. And maybe if we hadn't been fed so much fear at the beginning, maybe people would have just turned around and gone, no, I'm not doing that, you know, sod this, and carried on with their lives. So I understand where their thoughts were when they at the beginning put out so much fear, but I also don't think it was fair to traumatize the world en masse in such a way, because people have killed themselves because of this, and people are experiencing mental health difficulties and stresses because of this. People are worried because they're going to lose their homes. People have lost their jobs. People are now, you know, kind of like really scared about their future, especially people of a certain age, because they don't think they'll be able to get another job after this, or their industry has changed so drastically that there is no space for them anymore, or they're too expensive to employ now, and will be for some time. So, you know, it's been a tough year so far, and this card is basically saying it's time to take off those glasses and stop seeing this thing in 3D, in larger than life. To take off the glasses and look at it and see it for what it is. Yeah, look at it with your own eyes, not through these lenses. Look at it through your own eyes and judge it and evaluate it yourself, and make up your own mind about what is going on, and then make your own decisions about how you want to behave and think and feel and act moving forwards, and stop being swept along by the narrative, because there is a danger if we continue to do that, and if we are deep within that narrative, there is a danger that we will end up giving away our freedoms, our rights. We will end up holding out our arms for vaccines that could harm us, because, you know, vaccines are a whole complicated thing, and there are other things put into vaccines, adjunctments or something, I think they're called. They basically put in things that will aggravate our immune systems, in order to get a reaction. Because if you vaccinate someone and their immune system doesn't respond, so if you just put in a normal, like a pure vaccine, so it's only got like a part of the virus in it, a virus, if you just vaccinate someone with that, and it's a clean vaccine, there's nothing else in it, then maybe their immune system will react, and then they will be immune to that thing in the future, and that's what we want to happen. But maybe their immune system won't respond because their immune system is already a bit screwed and they're not that healthy, and then that vaccine hasn't actually taken hold and it's not in there and it's not going to work. So because so many people in the world now aren't that healthy, so many people have health problems, and so many people have health problems at really young ages because of all of the stuff in the world that is poisoning us. There's so much more pollution now than there ever used to be, and the quality of food is not very good compared to what it used to be, and there's lots of like artificial man-made things that we all consume, whether we eat them or drink them or put them on our skin or breathe them in every single day. And So they put things like formaldehyde and mercury and aluminium into the vaccines, which are all poisons. And they put them in there, and then the body goes, oh my god, yikes, there's danger here. And so the body like sets up an immune response and reacts, and that's how the vaccine, the virus or whatever, you will then have an immunity to it. But the problem is that these toxins that are being put into the body, especially if the body is already sick, are damaging the body, and people are having seizures, people are getting autoimmune conditions, people are dying. And this is not something to be taken lightly. So a vaccine is not just a vaccine, and a vaccine is not as simple as a vaccine used to be. You know, many years ago, probably like 20-30 years ago, the vaccines were cleaner and safer for the most part. Not all of them. There have always been some vaccines that were good and some vaccines that weren't really, and they didn't get acknowledged, and so they carried on being used, and lots of people carried on being harmed. And it's a subject that's never really been brought to light properly, and people have been paid off to be silent, or people have been thrown out of court or refused a court hearing in order to get compensation for what's happened to them. Like the amount of children with autism these days, vaccine induced, and you know, it's a subject that's only now coming to light, and it's still not in the mainstream media, but it is there, it is out there. But I mean, like for years and years and years, the mothers who were saying my child was vaccinated and then they got autism and they were healthy beforehand, they were told they were crazy and they were making it up, and nobody took any notice of them. So glasses need to be off. Yeah, we need to look now through our own eyes, not through the eyes of fear. And we need to look at things, look at it in regards to what will serve the population of the world best, not just me. So don't sit there and go, well, I'm perfectly healthy, so I can have a vaccine and I'll be perfectly fine no matter what. Even if it's got like chemicals and toxins in it, that doesn't matter. I'll be okay because I trust my immune system. No, because there are like millions of people out there who won't be okay and whose immune system won't be able to handle it. And, you know, they might get really sick as a result, or they might die. And we need to stand up for these people too. So it's not just about us, it's about everybody. And we need to take our glasses off, and we need to hold up our hands and make our vote count, and we need to fight for our freedom. Freedom to choose what happens to us, freedom to choose what is put into us. Yeah, and there are many things that we need to look out for, like whether children should be forced to be vaccinated, like whether vaccination should be compulsory, like full stop, not just the corona vaccine, whether children should be forced back into school. You know, there are lots of parents would like to continue homeschooling their children for the foreseeable future after this situation. And, you know, is that going to be allowed to happen? Or are the parents going to be taken into court and have, you know, the threat of having their children taken away from them if they don't put them back into school again? And these things are real issues that are going on right now. So I've made this card really serious. And yeah, that's just what I am hearing intuitively right now is the meaning of this card. It's like, yes, this is a light, fluffy deck. It's meant to be casual, but that doesn't mean that these cards can't have a deeper meaning. And the deeper meaning in this card is not just to pay attention to the wonders of the world and to look with open eyes at the sunrise, at the sunset, at flowers, at animals, at your family and friends, and see them with fresh new eyes and be, you know, struck by wonder and amazement by your interactions with all of these things. This card is deeper. This card is like, no, you need to take those glasses off and you need to look at the world with fresh eyes, but not just in a kind of airy-fairy spiritual way, not just looking for beauty in the world. You need to look more seriously and be more grounded than that, and stand up and count and make your voice count. And that's not a natural thing for a lot of people, especially if you're, from the spiritual background. We kind of like to be more peaceful and more one step removed from all of that stuff going on in the world, and just stay within our own communities and mind our own business and get on with our own personal work, which is great and wonderful and important work, and we should continue to do that, and our communities are important. But I think we need to embrace our masculine side a little bit more if we are women, or at least put a flame under the butt of our feminine side and get her to Joan of Arc it a bit more, because now is a time when even the sensitive souls, even the empaths, are being called forwards and asked to really stand up and count and help preserve the world and help her move forwards into a new way of being that is better than what has come before, or at least than what has existed for a very long time. So that's my reading of this card, and now I'm going to turn it around and read the author's reading of this card, which will probably be totally different and way less serious. So it says, "It's a wonderful thing to be in a state of wonder. And when I'm a good audience to my life becomes better and better theatre. When something delightful happens, I can shout encore and be tickled when it happens again. When something maddening happens, I can laugh it off. Either way, I'm glad I got a ticket to the show." So there you go. You can take whichever meaning from that reading that you would like. But I do urge you to consider the deeper, more serious meaning as well as the lighter one. I hope you enjoyed that reading. Please do check out my other videos. There are lots here on this channel now. And if you would like me to ask a question and do a video on it, please do send me a message. I would be glad to help you if I can. If you would like a private reading with me, please check out my website, lemonrosepetals.com, or Instagram, lemonrosepetals, and on Facebook, lemonrosepetals. And get in contact with me, have a look, find out a bit more about me, a bit more about the other things that I do. If you like these videos, please do subscribe to my channel and give this page a like, and I will see you next time.